You never know where your business is going to come from. And I think you just need to always be hungry and appreciative and take care of those people like they're your one and only, and focus on the people that you already have in your world.
I always say every superhero has an origin story and we love to hear it. So tell us about kind of where you started and where you are today.
I grew up with parents and a mother specifically that showed me what servant leadership looked like. My father was very domineering, very military. I struggled for a long time, but as I grew, I realized leadership looks different. It comes in all shapes and sizes. So I was able to take pieces of my upbringing and what I knew from business and what I wanted to achieve and how I wanted to serve others. And I created that into what my life looks like now.
What are some of the day-to-day responsibilities that you've delegated to keep your time focused on high leverage activities?
So Lux Property Group, it consists of 3 licensed agents, a full-time operations director / TC, and then I have 2 VAs. And that's been built over time. But the way we leverage that is, first, Jen was my TC for years. Well, then I have Meredith. So she and I work on all of our listings together. As our business started growing, and then I hired 2 VAs, one to help with the marketing, one to help with the admin. And so then Jen, I just promoted her up into my operations director. So she manages our VAs and she manages the process.
What does it take to build a top-tier luxury business and raise 4 kids while staying sane? Today's guest, Elizabeth Riley, has done just that and a lot more. She's an international speaker. She's been named one of Austin's top 50 women leaders. She's a platinum top 50 realtor, and she runs the Lux Property Group under eXp Realty, and she's the first 10-time icon agent at eXp Realty. So if you're trying to scale smart and build a legacy without losing yourself in the process, this one's for you. Elizabeth, welcome to the lounge.
Thank you for having me. I love that introduction. I don't know about the sane part, but everything else sounds really, really great.
Well, you make it look sane, even if you're probably swimming like a duck, paddling like crazy under the surface, but you make it look cool, calm, and collected. So tell us a little bit about your origin story. I always say every superhero has an origin story and we love to hear it. So tell us about kind of where you started and where you are today.
I love that. So I kind of a mix up of all sorts of things from different people in my life, but growing up, I grew up in a very unique household. So my family had a lot of love to give. We didn't have a lot of money or things, but we had a lot of love to give. And so we found ourselves being home and safety and security to over 140 children in 20 years in the foster system. And so if you think about that environment and what that could look like, I grew up with parents and a mother specifically that showed me what servant leadership looked like. I always thought that was weakness. I always thought that, oh, well, that's not what a leader is, because my parents were divorced. My father was very domineering, very military. Leadership, I thought that's what it had to look like. And so I struggled for a long time. But as I grew in the industry and decided to go into real estate, I realized leadership looks different and it comes in all shapes and sizes, and it looks different. It's not a title. And so I was able to take pieces of my upbringing and what I knew from business and what I wanted to achieve and how I wanted to serve others. And I've created that into what my life looks like now. So I've been licensed 20 years in the real estate industry. I was licensed in Atlanta, Georgia, and in 2008, right? I know we've got that connection there. And then in hometown, 2008, we were transferred to Austin, Texas, which those were in the business in 2008. That wasn't the easiest market, but Austin was a little bit better than Atlanta. And so I saw it as opportunity. And I knew that people were still looking to buy and sell and needed homes over their heads and needed safety and security for their families. And I knew I could show up in that space. And so built a really big business under another brand for the first 10 years of my business, all referral based, all just through relationships, because my heart and soul just tells me that if you build the relationship, I don't care what business you're in or what industry, the business is going to come. It's all about the people. And if people are seen, valued, and heard, and they feel important, and there's a loyalty and there's a commitment there that far exceeds anything that anybody would think about in the real estate industry or the closing tables.
Yeah, anything that you can manufacture, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's interesting to sit back and watch in the industry and how it's evolved, and with AI and all these other things. And there's scarcity, but again, it's people. We're in the relationship business. It's the people business, no matter what industry you're in. And I was able to build a pretty large business just because of that. If I made sure my clients were the only ones that they felt like they were my only client, right? That's all that matters. And so they would refer and refer and refer. So I've had 20 years of success, overnight success. Everybody's like, what's the secret to success? I'm like, oh, it's just 20 years of overnight success. But I've made a lot of mistakes and I learn more from the failures, and I try to be better, and I try to show up differently and better for the people that I'm surrounded by, the people that look up to me, the people that I admire. And it's just morphed me into who I am today.
That's so good. You know, you've become a friend of mine over the years that I've gotten to know you, and I just love your heart and your passion. I've seen you speaking on rocking stages, but you've accomplished so much in that 20 years. I want to dive into some of that. You said you got licensed in what, 2004?
2004, 2005 in Georgia. Yeah.
Somewhere around there? Okay. And you've consistently been ranked as a top agent, like a platinum top 50 agent. So let's get into what systems and habits have allowed you to build such a long-lasting, high-performing career.
I always used to cringe when people would ask me about my systems and processes, because I am not one of those types of people that have that all figured out. If you know the DISC profile, that part is really, really low on my overall showcase of where I stand. But the reality is it doesn't have to be what everybody does. It's what works for you. And I realized that I used to beat myself up all the time saying, well, I'm not doing what they're doing. I'm not doing this or that. And it doesn't matter what works for me. So think about real estate. A lot of people, when I got into the business, and even now, they'll say, oh, this is how you're going to be successful. You have to knock on doors, you have to cold call, and you have to do open houses. That is what I was told. And I still hear that for 20 years. I'm not going to knock on doors. I'm much more of an introvert than people realize. I don't want people knocking on my doors, so I'm not going to treat people the way I want to be treated. I don't want to cold call, same thing. I don't like rejection. I want to solve for something, and I just don't want to call strangers. I want to work with people that I know, like, and trust, and that know, like, and trust me. I want to see people down the street and they say, oh my gosh, there's my friend Elizabeth. She happens to be really awesome in real estate, instead of, oh my gosh, there's Elizabeth Run. She's going to talk to you about real estate. And that's all in my own head. I understand not everybody operates that way, but that's been my experience. So I don't want to be that way. Open houses, same thing. I've never done an open house in 20 years. So if I'm not willing to do those three things, then what am I willing to do that shows my business skills and that's authentic? I think authenticity
That's a great question. What are you willing to do if you're not doing those things?
Right. To be successful, success looks different for all of us. But if I'm not going to do all the things that everybody says, oh, you have to do these things to be successful. No, I don't. And I can prove that there's other ways to be successful. So I do things very different. But I think the common goal in anything you do, whether it's a formal process or a system, is consistency. You can't just throw spaghetti at a wall and hope to see what sticks. That's not going to keep you in this business long term. So I am very, very, very consistent with keeping in touch with people. I have been for 20 years, making sure they feel seen, making sure they feel important, feel like they're a friend more than I'm trying to sell them. Nobody wants to be sold. Everyone wants to buy. So we were on my call this morning with my team, and we were talking about what we're going to do for our clients in October. Like, what can we do special for each and every one of them that makes us stand out than us just sold or just listed, or nobody cares about that stuff.
Yeah.
When you change the dialogue and the intention focused on them and not you, the conversations are different and the business looks different. And so I've been able to do a lot of business because people have believed in us and trusted in us and keep coming back to us and refer people to us because they know that whoever they hand us to, we're going to take care of them with white gloves. And so I think in anything, it's consistency. Figure out what you're good at, what your superpower is, what you like to do. If you love meeting people, go to the open houses and just be the best person you can be, but do it differently than what everybody else is doing. So I think consistency is key, and too many people give up too quickly.
I believe that. I do agree. However, I want to challenge you on something because you've been doing this successfully for 20 years. The people that you meet become your friends. They feel like a friend to you. So they reach out to you and you do business with them. And that has helped you to become a top 50 realtor. But I think if you really examined your business, or if you let someone else examine your business, they would actually show you where the systems are, because you cannot consistently be in the top 50 without having systems of consistency that are built into your business, whether they are subconscious or not.
Yeah.
There are things that you are doing systematically that other agents are not doing, and therefore those agents are not getting the same result.
Yeah,
Even with open
I
houses.
absolutely agree with that. And I do have systems and processes, but they're just very loose and they're a little bit agile. But I know there's 12 months in the year. I know that every single month we're going to touch our client or reach out to our client in some way at least 2 times a month. And
Okay,
so we
there
know
we go.
what those are going to be. We just don't know what the details or the specifics are until we
That's
plan ahead of
okay,
it.
because
Yeah,
that's more than what most agents have.
that's true.
That's more than what most business owners have. This show has a real estate slant, but it's not only for real estate agents. This is for business owners. And here's the problem, I know, and you know this to be true too. Most real estate agents don't look at themselves as business owners. They see
That is
themselves
true.
as a real estate agent.
Yeah,
And so they don't run their business like a business.
right.
I was just talking to someone, he's a chef and they have this catering business. He's starting to scale his business. And I was asking him, so you're growing now, because he started out with like ghost kitchen and now he actually has like a storefront. And I'm like, man, that's amazing. I said, let me ask you something though. Like the people that helped you to build the business, the customers that you had from day one, how are you staying in touch with those people?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I know I should, but I don't. And so he's constantly having to acquire new customers because
Right.
he has no systematic way of reaching out to the people who've already supported his business to begin with, the people who are
And
most
that's-
likely to send other people to his restaurant.
Well, exactly. And that's more work. When I coach and train agents all the time, they say, I need more business. I need more leads. Okay. What is a lead? What does that mean to you? And what about all the people you've served in the background? What have you done with them? Well, nothing. Why not? Those are your testimonials. Those are the people that have worked with you. They've seen firsthand what you're able to do. You helped them buy or sell one of their biggest assets. You got them to the closing table. You had all the things handled and made it seamless for them. They should be your raving fans. And I think that's missed a lot because I want to support people that have done well by me. I'm a connector. I want to tell everybody about, like you said, the restaurant down the street, or, I mean, I love doing reviews for people. How can we help you? What can we do? Can we bring people in? I've got a restaurant that's somebody I just absolutely adore because of their service and how they make you feel like Norm from Cheers when you walk in there. I was there 3 days in a row and I was embarrassed. And the owner was there every single time. He's like, oh my gosh, you're back. I was like, okay, don't tell my clients we're back again. I mean,
He's like, you're back.
he's like, I love it. I love it. I said, I promise you there's other places, but you go to the places where you feel welcome and you feel taken care of and you feel like family. So all those people that you've already worked with, it's a lost opportunity. And I think people don't recognize that as much. They're like, no, I got to go get the next big deal. My business has pivoted. It used to be 100% past clients. Now it's really more 70-30 and it's agents from around the country. And why does that happen? Well, because these agents refer their clients, pray that I'm going to take care of them. I take great care of them. I keep that referral source updated. I let them know all the things. So then they say, oh my gosh, I'm going to send everybody to you. And then if they say, who do you know in Austin? They're like, oh, I've already referred clients to Elizabeth. You need to go to Elizabeth. I got 3 just this
Bingo.
week by other agents. So you never know where your business is going to come from. And I think you just need to always be hungry and appreciative and take care of those people like they're your one and only, and focus on the people that you already have in your world. And I think you're right. I think a lot of people fail to do that. And you have a piece of paper, you can write 12 months. It doesn't have to be super systematic. That's where I would always get kind of caught up because I'm not super techy.
Yeah.
I'm not super systematic and I'm not doing all those things. And I'm like, wait a minute, what I'm doing works. I do a lot of handwritten notes. I do a lot of things that people say are old school, but I'm telling you what, in the world of tech and AI, that old school is coming back and is appreciated more. So I think people just need to figure out what they feel good doing. And again, what's authentic to you. If you tell me to go knock on a door right off the bat, I am not comfortable. I am not confident. And you're not going to want to work with me at all because of how I show up in my best light. So other people are going to be attracted to that because your vibe attracts your tribe. Not everybody wants to work with me and I'm not a fit for everybody and that's okay. But I want the people that I'm supposed to work with to know that we're a fit.
That's so good. At Lux Property Group, I want to know, like, what are some of the day-to-day responsibilities that you've delegated to keep your time focused on high leverage activities? Because you don't do all the same things that you used to do
Right
now.
Yeah.
So what are some of those things?
Okay. I love that question because especially because this is the Leverage Lounge.
Here we are.
And leverage is key. And I didn't realize that for a long time. For the longest time, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, a lot of people run their business like a hobby, not really a business. My business in Georgia was a hobby. Like if I look back, I was just like winging it. I was just doing whatever came my way. But when I moved to Texas and I realized, okay, I've got to structure this a little bit different. It is a business. And so I had to focus on what that meant. So what I knew was as an individual agent, I tried to do everything. I had to do everything. I had all these balls in the air and I was always trying to catch the glass ones. So I realized this is not sustainable and it burned me out quite a bit in my first company. When I came over to EXP 10 and a half years ago, I was like, what can I do different? So I didn't want a team because I have 4 kids and a husband. I'm focused on Team Riley. I did not want a team because I didn't want to have that guilt. I'm not Catholic, but I have Catholic guilt. I didn't want that extra stress, but I wanted us all to win together. So what could that look like? EXP was so creative because we're so entrepreneurial that it had an option where we could have a non-team team, if you will, like a self-organized team where we could brand together, we could work together, but we could create our business plan the way we wanted to build that. And so that's where the leverage came in. So Lux Property Group consists of 3 licensed agents, being one of them, a full-time operations director / TC. And then I have 2 VAs, and that's been built over time. But the way we leverage that is first, Jen was my TC for years. I had to hire her first because I was trying to do all the paperwork, trying to do all these other things. And can I do it? Yes. Is that the best use of my time? No. Does Jen want to be doing what I'm doing? No. Does she love what she's doing? Yes. Okay. That works really, really well. So I couldn't hire her by myself first because of scarcity mindset. I was afraid I wouldn't have enough business for her. So I went in with another agent saying, can we share? So look at other ways where it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
So you timeshared your first hire.
I did. And then it freed me up to do the things that I have a gift at doing. And my business kept coming in and my business kept growing. And then I had Jen full time. I've had Jen for 14 years. There's loyalty there. So she was always my TC. Well, then I have Meredith, who's been in the business longer than me, who was a friend because our kids were friends. And she was like, oh, I want to do some things with you too. She doesn't need to be under me. I don't need to be her team lead, but what could we do together? She doesn't want to do what I do. She doesn't want to do the business development and the community cultivation that I do, that I love doing, but she loves working on the listings. So she and I work on all of our listings together. Leanne loves the buyers. She loves being in the cars with the buyers. She loves all of that stuff that I don't have the time or patience. So she worked with me on all my buyers. So we've leveraged it differently so it benefits each person and it plays to our strengths. I don't want everybody that's just like me. It's not going to work. And then as our business started growing, and then I hired 2 VAs, one to help with the marketing, one to help with the admin. Can we do it? Yes, we can. Are we better at that than these other people? No, we're not. And so then Jen, I just promoted her up into my operations director. So she manages our VAs and she manages the process. So we all have our strengths and the things that we really like doing, but we're leveraging differently. And it's giving us so much more freedom and so much more business. And we're more efficient in what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, which before I would be dying on the vine with the amount of business we're doing right now. Nobody can do this alone. And when you try, that's where their holes are. And that's when you start dropping those glass balls.
Had a conversation just before you and I got on today. I was actually literally talking to an agent and they were talking about how what their goals are for the next year. And the next year, of course, is to double their business. Like what most people say, they want to double their business in the following year. And I said, well, how do you plan to do that? And they said, well, they're going to sell more homes. They're going to help more people. And it sounded really good until I started asking, so how are you going to do that? And he says, well, quite honestly, man, if I have to wake up earlier, if I have to go to sleep a little bit later, and if I got to work weekends, then that's what I got to do. I said, let me ask you something. You got kids? And he said, yeah. So when you show up and you're going to sleep later, but you're waking up earlier and you're also working weekends, wouldn't you agree that you're taking the hours away from the people that you say that you're doing it for?
Yeah.
And then if you do double your business, let's say you do, hustle culture is killing people. I'm telling you, but let's say you double your business the next year. Fantastic. Congratulations. But what about the following year? Are you going to sleep later and wake up earlier than that and do more weekend work? Point, do you begin building the systems or the leverage in order to scale so that you can get more output without having to do more input?
Right.
And
it's a
and it made them think
for
a little
people.
bit. It is.
I mean,
because people aren't having these conversations. Hustle culture social media tells you that you need to wake up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
and you need to be up before everybody else and go to sleep later than everybody else and work weekends, whatever you got to do. And it's just like, but who are you doing it for?
Right.
Who are you doing it for? What is the purpose in all of this?
It's interesting you say that, because social media and everything else too it's such noise to me, and it's such a distraction. I think we all get caught up in it. But when I was at my old brokerage, 10 years, built my business, I was number one when I left. There were 650 agents in that one market center. I was number one. And when I came home that night, my husband said, let's go to dinner. We're going to celebrate. This is amazing. I was like, we can go to dinner, but we need to talk about a transition strategy because I'm getting out of the business. And he looked at me and he said, you're serious? I said, I'm absolutely serious. He goes, Elizabeth, you're on top of the world. You're number one. Like, you've got all these things. And from the outside looking in, yeah. And I said, but let's break that down a little bit. I'm burned out. I'm uninspired. I'm fired after every transaction. I'm on a hamster wheel. I have 4 children. You travel internationally all the time. This is not what we planned for our life. I was supposed to be a stay-at-home mom. I realized quickly that I don't operate well. I'm a better mom because I work, but not at the expense of my kids. And so he said, okay, well, what do you need to do? Go start your own brokerage? Absolutely not. That's the opposite direction I need to go. Go to another brokerage. I said, they're all lateral moves. That's when all of my people in Georgia had gone to EXP. And that's when they said, will you meet with somebody? And I went to a company that had 400 agents nationally, less than what my market center had. But here's the difference though. I found my passion again. Now I'm learning from people everywhere else. I'm not trying to do it all on my own. I'm not on the top of an island by myself, where on the top of a mountain is very lonely. What happens when you lift others as you climb, and now you're all owners, right? And now you're operating as owners. I was learning from people everywhere going, oh my gosh, I can be smarter, not harder. First year here, 2,000 agents, I'm number one. Second year here, 5,000 agents, I'm number one. It's not about the number one. That's never my goal.
No.
But what happened was I was having more fun. I had more freedom. I said, what has changed? I'm still the same person. I just told you I do the same thing for 20 years. What changed? My environment changed. And so sometimes you have to move environments to regain or to realize what you have and who you are to get your passion back. Because even at EXP, I started building and I was like, I'm doing this for you guys. And my kids were like, hold on. And I read a book called Die with Zero. Have you read that?
No, I've heard of it though.
Read that book, Die with Zero by Bill Perkins. Okay. I read that book and it was eye-opening to me because it's exactly what our culture tells us. Build, 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 build. And then when you're older, then you can enjoy. Well, what happens if you don't have the health, or your kids don't have the interest, or you're not even around and you lost all of this? And my kids are like, we want you now. We want you present. We want you here. So I had to go to my kids and my family and say, okay, I need to ask for forgiveness and ask for grace. I haven't let you guys know you're the priority. So then I blocked my calendar. Right. Now my calendars, I time block. I never did that before. After a certain time during the day, I don't work. I don't do calls. I don't do anything. It is family time. My kids know that. My family knows that. So now, instead of them being the exception, I can go to them and say, hey guys, I have this situation with work. Do you mind if I go do this for about an hour? Now I have more grace from them because they know that they're the priority. My business isn't the priority. Right. That was hard to look at them and see what they were saying. I was like, wait, don't you get it? And they're like, no, we don't get it. Right. And I retired my husband from Dell Computer. He was 25 years at Dell Computer. And I said, what if I retired you? He said, well, what would I do? And I said, you just saw the conversation we're going with our kids. You're missing it. You're missing it. My oldest son asked him, he said, Dad, if you had been around more, would you have done scouts and sports and things like you're doing with Levi? And my husband was like, oh my gosh. So it's really, you've got to figure out for each person. It's not about feeling guilty. It's about, okay, where are my priorities and how can I get there? And the hustle culture isn't cool anymore. That's not needed. And there's so many other ways. And I have a board of directors. Those are my people. They're going to call me out. They're going to keep me honest. They're going to keep me real. It's a small group, but find your board of directors and they're going to keep you on the right path. But leverage is your best friend. And leverage doesn't mean using somebody. Leverage means finding a better way to do something and working smarter, not harder, and giving you that time freedom and financial freedom you're looking for, which looks different for all of us.
There's so much that you just said in there. And I love the emphasis on alignment, which is what I think you were getting to as well, where, you can be doing something, but if you're not fulfilled, I say this quote often, and I heard Tony Robbins say it. I believe it's his. If not, I'm giving it to him. But
if not,
he always
can say it's your quote. He can.
Well, that's right. Yeah. So I came up with this and then Tony Robbins said it. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
It just hits and you get it when you understand what it is that fulfills you. That is how you define success. So what are you working towards? What are you building so that you don't end up building something opposite of where you actually are supposed to be, where your true alignment is, where you feel fulfilled, where your God-given purpose is aligned with what you're doing right here on this side of heaven? That is what we should be working towards.
Right.
And so the question I have for you is, how has leverage helped you scale without sacrificing the client experience? Because as you know, business owners and we hear from agents all the time. It's like, well, I'm the best in the world at this, and I don't want to give that up because what if they do it wrong?
Yeah.
What if they're sacrificing the client experience? How are you doing that without sacrificing the client experience?
Yeah, great question, because I realize a lot of it is ego and delegation issues and control issues, and I've done it one way for so long. But there comes a time where you have to trust and figure out what's going to work. And I was experiencing it too. The clients kept coming to me. The clients want me. The clients need me. They're being referred to me. So I had to work within our team to say what can work. So, this is so simple. In real estate, it's going to look different than a lot of the business owners that watch your podcast. But in real estate, ours is super simple. This is our process. We have a client at 123 Main Street. Meredith and I are going to list their house. We go meet with them together. I do love that part because I'm still involved in the transaction, just not every little piece of it. And so we'll go meet with our clients. Let's say Alex at 123 Main Street. Alex, Meredith and I we're excited to work with you. You get two of us. You've got our team, all the things. And then our process is we set up a group text. Most of them want to communicate on text this day and age, but we set up a group text and we have the address. And so then they know if I'm in a meeting or Meredith's in a meeting, you always have one of us. So they don't need to know that I'm stepping back, that Meredith's mainly the boots on ground. But I'm still in the background. I'm doing the negotiations. I'm doing the contracts. We're doing the things that we still want to do, but it's freeing us up differently. But our clients see it seamless because now they see, oh, I've got two agents and our whole team works really, really well together. So we had to work together to figure out what that looked like. And every person is going to have to figure that out for themselves. But I realized once I don't have to do it all, and I trusted Meredith. Again, Meredith has more experience. I trusted Jen. We're all adults. We know what our jobs are. And if people don't know what their jobs are and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, they're not the right person. You need to replace them. And we had different VAs that didn't work out. And I like to try and help everybody. So I was really slow to fire. But if you are slow to fire, then you're just wasting resources and energy when you could be doing something bigger. So I've had to do some growing on my end, but we have a whole process that we sit with our clients. We let them know what the process is up front. We let them know that everything is being taken care of. What questions do you have? And they're like, no, you've covered it. It's when they don't know, or there's question marks or there's uncertainty, that's where things go awry. But if you are, regardless of what business, if you let them know, here's our process. What would work for you? Do we need to tweak anything that would work better for you? Usually they're like, oh no, you've already thought about it. Because we do this day in and day out. We could do this with our eyes closed. Buyers and sellers don't. So communication is key. Making sure they're formed up front. Communicating all the time during the week. Not putting a sign in the yard and leaving and saying, okay, we'll let you know when it's sold. Truly a partnership. Our clients know that we're truly a partnership. And that's why we do what we do, or how we do what we do.
When I worked at Disney, I was at Disney for 12 years. And one of the things that I picked up at Disney is that they have this thing called maintaining the magic. You're taught this early in what we call traditions. It's kind of your Disney University training on how we do things the Disney way.
Yeah.
And maintaining the magic simply means that, let's say you're working at one of the attractions. The attraction does the same thing every single time it does it.
Yeah.
And you got to drive that boat, that skipper boat or whatever it is, and you hearing the same music over and over again. And sometimes some of these attraction hosts, they have scripts that they have to say, like the Jungle Cruise. And so that Jungle Cruise skipper goes around the Jungle Cruise River every single time and says the same jokes at the same place at the same time every single time. Now, you think they get tired of that?
Oh, yeah.
Of course they get tired of that. But guess what? That may be the very first time that one of the guests that is on that boat has ever heard that joke.
Yeah.
They may have saved for years. That family has saved thousands of dollars for plenty of years to celebrate their 50th anniversary there, or that kid's first birthday, whatever that thing is. And that's their first time hearing it. And so you got to say it like it's your first time saying it.
Yeah.
There's a care that goes into delivering that type of experience. Even though you do it all the time, you have to understand that they don't.
Right.
And there's a grace that comes along with that.
Right. Well, and sometimes you have to step up. I mean, the Disney experience is phenomenal, right? And we've heard stories about cast members going above and beyond and doing different things to just make it unforgettable. You have to do that sometimes, well, in real estate, but any industry. I mean, the restaurant owner that I keep showing up time and time again, because yes, I'm there time and time again, but he welcomes me like family, and he treats all my guests, and he makes sure that you're taken care of. And you just feel like you're the number one person that comes in there, which I by far am not. I just like their biscuits. But the same thing, you have to be the hero sometime. I mean, we have a deal going sideways right now. It's people I've known since my kids were little that they're going through divorce. It's a really sad situation. They called us because we're friends and we can be sympathetic and empathetic, but it's ugly. And the transaction is challenging and everything is a challenge. And we got a WDI report that is derailing this whole thing. And it's just because of conducive conditions. I mean, this is silly. Not even termites. There's no termites, just conducive conditions. And my client about lost his mind. And he's like, they're so stressed out. Instead of us adding more stress to it, what can we do to take away as much stress as possible? I call my landscaper. I need you to go down and I need you to trim these trees. I need you to remove this wood. I need you to do all these things. Here's the list. Just show up and do it. Bill me. And my client was like, so-and-so's here. I was like, by the way, he's coming here. This is what he's doing. I've got it handled. And they're like, oh my gosh, you guys are saviors. You're like all these things by making a phone call, by having somebody go trim some leaves or some limbs, right? It's little things like that. That's no big deal for us, but it means the world because we don't know everything else that's going on in their world. But if we can make this the last thing they have to deal with, that they know it's taken care of, we've won. And we're not even at the closing table. It can be as ugly as possible, but they're going to remember that we stepped in and we made it so much less than it needed to be. That's why I love real estate. Every client is going to be different. Every situation is going to be different. And this is why I've built such a rapport with agents as well. I tell agents, man, I want to be that agent where people are excited to work with me on the other side of the transaction because buyers and sellers come and go. But how you treat people is a reflection of who you are. And this industry is small. And so I want people, especially when the market is challenging, we're having a great year. Again, because it goes back to that consistency. I don't care what the market does. I've been in the business 20 years. We've seen it go up and down and up and down. Markets are going to do that. But the ones that are consistent throughout are the ones who are going to win and the ones that are going to be sustainable at the end of the day. And so I just keep telling people, let's get to a yes, let's get to a solution. And I want to be collaborative, not competitive. I think that's why we're seeing a difference working with the agents we're working with and working with the clients we're working with.
Yeah, that's so good. It's so important and it doesn't get talked about enough. And so I'm glad you brought that up. Now, you've built a powerhouse business while raising 4 kids.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about systems, but what rhythms or routines have helped you balance both worlds?
Whew. I have a lot of help. I'm not going to lie. First of all, my oldest is now a sophomore in college, which, I know I don't look old enough to have a college kid, but
No.
A sophomore in college. Then I have a junior daughter, 7th grade. That's a full-time job right there, ladies and gentlemen. I have a 9th grade boy and then I have a 7th grade girl. So I'm in this stage now where they are crazy busy. They're very athletic. They're very social. I'm just a unpaid Uber driver for most of it. Somebody said a long time ago, you only have 18 summers with your kids. And I was like, and you really don't, because once they get into the teenage years and they start driving, they are gone. I never see my junior. She's always gone. And I'm like, I'm grasping at every minute I can. So there's no real routine, but I try to make it a point to be involved in everything. So in the mornings, like they have their system. I make their dinner or make their lunches at night, but I have help. Anna has been with me for 11 years. She used to be my kid's nanny when I was working. And then when my kids went to school, she was like, do I need to find another family? I was like, you are family. You're not going anywhere. Let's figure this out. And so, lack of a better word, she's family, but she's more like my house manager. So she helps with the house. She helps with the laundry. She helps with cooking sometimes. She helps with all the things so that when my kids are here, I'm not doing all those other things and I can focus on them. My husband's retired. So in the mornings now, he gets up. We both get up, but he takes them to school. So I have that hour to get ready for my work. Like I can go through emails. I can get ready for the day. I can shower. He helps pick one of them up after school. I pick up another. So we divide and conquer, but we've got systems and processes in our family, but it's designed so we can spend as much time with our kids that they'll let us as possible.
Yeah.
Got a great relationship. My oldest, who's in college, it's fun now. He's still in college, but he's out of state, but he's 19. So it's more of an adult. So you can have different conversations with him. And he's like, Mom, now I can see why you did these things. Now I've learned how to do these things. He's in the entrepreneurial business school. He negotiates all the time. People are like, where'd you get the negotiation skills? He's like, I grew up in real estate listening to my mom. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
So my family is my world. And everything I do and build is for them. I'm creating a legacy. Truth be told, they don't know, Mike, what I've built. They don't know what we've done financially. They don't know that we have created a legacy that, passed down to them because I want them to learn work ethic and grit.
Yeah.
So I put all 4 of them are in a private school because where our school district isn't the best. I want to give them the best education. But in that private school, there's kids with brand new cars. And not just brand new cars.
Oh, yeah.
Brand new loaded Raptors and like, what, right? My kid had a old Land Cruiser that was my husband's that had 365,000 miles on it. Right. And my kids,
good for you.
And I'm like, you can earn what you want to do. My kid started his own business called Rent-A-Kid at the time. Like they do power washing. They do things for helping other people move, like this whole business. My daughter has created business. So my kids are learning skills where I could hand them everything. I'm not going to do that because I want them to be wildly successful in whatever that looks like for them. And if I hand them everything, I wasn't ever handed anything. I had to work for everything. And I think that's probably part of the secret, quote unquote, to why I've been successful. But my family is my world. And I want to instill some of those traits and lessons that I've learned and see what they do with it.
Did you kind of mold them towards that entrepreneurial spirit, or do you think they just kind of watched you and go, well, the mom's out there getting it, so maybe I need to? Because you could be a hard worker but not have an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of kids who can work great and be great employees for jobs, but they don't necessarily want to go out and create a company like Rent-A-Kid, right? So where does that come from for them?
That's a good question. I don't know. I didn't steer them any which way. All 4 of my kids are completely different. Like, I know they're all raised the same. Biologically, they're the same. Everything, they're the same. They are so different. My oldest, truly entrepreneurial. He loves that. He loves that freedom. I think he sees the freedom, but he knows that there's a cost associated with that. You've got to work hard. He doesn't want to be stuck in like a 9 to 5. I mean, he's got an internship up there and it's not a 9 to 5. It's just more moldable. My 16-year-old, she probably will just want a job. Like she doesn't have that entrepreneurial spirit. Like right now, she does all the things kids do, babysits and does things like that. But I don't think she wants to build something. My 14-year-old, he is very creative. I don't think he'll go to college. He's my engineering mind. He's dyslexic. So what he's been able to learn and overcome has been incredible. But what's interesting, he goes, Mom, I think I want to be a plumber. I said, okay. He goes, do you know what they make? I said, yeah. I know. And
he's absolutely right.
Actually, I'm going to be a plumber. So then I'm going to have my own plumbing company. He just turned 14. And then what I love about him too is his little mind works he's got a superpower in his mind. And we'll drive like to the airport or something. He's like, Mom, can we buy a car wash? I said, talk me through that. He said, well, look at all those cars. He goes, let's talk about per day. How much are those people paying per day? He goes, it's a parking lot. Look at a car wash. He's always like, why haven't you bought a parking lot yet? I was like, well, buddy, there's none for sale, first of all. And second, I mean, it's really funny. He holds my feet to the fire. But at 14 years old, his mind's already racing. Why haven't we done this yet? But what's cool is what I've been building. I've been putting money aside, whether they go to college, whether they don't. If he wants to go buy a plumbing company, he can go buy a plumbing company. He just doesn't
Right.
know that yet because he's going to work and earn it. So I haven't really steered them anyway. I've always made sure that they're in sports. No matter what, you have to
Yeah.
be in sports. I want you to learn teamwork. I want you to learn
Yes.
leadership. I want you to learn all these different
Collaboration.
things. So I don't know
Right.
if that's
How to
part of
lose.
it. Right. How to lose. My daughter lost her volleyball game yesterday and we had a long conversation about that. And she goes, it was so-and-so's fault. No, y'all are a team. It's not one person's fault. Right. So I think they learn all those things, but no, I never thought I was going to be an entrepreneur. Like I didn't know what I was going to be doing. My background is international marketing. I thought I was going to go work in Russia and do something there. I had different path.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how the world takes you and how God redirects you in a different way. Never in a million years did I think I'd be in real estate.
I love your path because the way that God has woven this tapestry of life for you and the things that you've explored, the opportunities that you've had, you have a passion for women empowerment.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you're speaking to women, you've directed, was it produced it or you produced?
I'm a co-producer.
Executive producer.
Co-producer.
What is it?
A co-producer on a New York Broadway. It's called Real Women Have Curves.
Yes. When I went to New York, I wanted to see it, but just so you know, I flew out the same day that they were actually going to see it.
I know. Well, I know, but here's
Yes.
the cool thing. It's going to be showing up in 40 cities around the nation. And so when that comes out, I'll let you know. But again, I mean, you and I have talked about this. We love entertainment. We love all these fun things. I love Broadway, but never in a million years did I say, oh, I want to be an investor in Broadway. I want to be a co-producer on
Right.
Broadway. It wasn't until it was this storyline, this message, this empowerment for not only women of all ages, but I've got 2 daughters and I wanted them to see what was possible and it was empowering to them. And they went and saw and they're like, oh my gosh, Mom, this is so amazing. And the message is so needed. And that's why I was super passionate about it. But we all lead in different ways. And I think women are so hard on themselves at times. And we are all think we have to be perfect and we have to show up. That's why I hate social media. It's like,
Yeah.
that's all the film. And what's the truth behind it? Like, how can we all really connect and lift each other up? How can we all really connect and say, oh my gosh, you're going through that same thing. I don't know. We're better when we're collaborating. We're better as a community, as a society, as an industry. And so I just had some great females in my life. I had some horrible females in my life too, that I realized, oh my gosh, I want to be better. I want to show up better. I want to do better. Not because it's about me. It's not about me. I lead from the back. You know me. You've seen me on stages and things like that. And I'm always honored when I'm asked to be on stage. I'm always honored when I'm asked to be on a podcast. But I'm like, who else can we lift up? Who can we put up there that needs their story? I mean, I had one agent here in Austin that she's incredible. I mean, she was an ICU baby nurse doing real estate, but like her story is incredible. Immigrant from India, like what she's built. And I'm like, you need to tell your story. And I wanted her to teach or be on a panel at this event I was doing. And I found her and she was hiding in the bathroom. I said, why are you in the bathroom? She's like, I can't do this. I said, are you kidding me? You're amazing. She's like, I'm not like you. I can't do this. I was like, hold on a minute. What would be helpful? So here's what I did, Mike. I pulled a chair up next to her in front of this whole group. There's about 250 people. I pulled up a chair next to her. I just sat next to her and I introduced her and I let her go. I never said a word. She did that all on her own. And she's like, it was because of you. I said, it wasn't because of me. I said, you did this on your own. You just needed somebody to believe in you. And I realized that a lot of people don't believe in themselves. So sometimes you need people that believe in you more than you believe in yourself to make you understand how valuable and what you bring to the table. Everybody brings something incredible. Literally, my presence just sitting next to her made her kind of have that confidence. And now she's got this amazing YouTube. She's doing like all these speaking things and she's telling her story because it's not about all the good or the positive. It's about the failures and the fear, I think, that connect people and empower people in a different way. And I think we need more of that. And so I love leading from behind. I love lifting other people up. And it just makes the world a better place.
You are absolutely right. Transparency and vulnerability is really what the connective tissue of life is. It allows other people to see themselves in our story and say, I'm not alone. To your point, the way most people use social media is that they separate themselves by saying, I'm better than everybody else, or, you know, I've worked harder, better than, you know, I'm hustling harder than everybody else. And they try to separate themselves where It actually should be a platform which we should use it as a platform to show how we are connected, how
Yeah.
we can actually help each other. As you mentioned, going to that mountain and bringing people with us. But in talking about transparency and vulnerability, I've begun sharing my story, which has had,
It's a
it's ups and
powerful
downs and
story.
turnarounds. Yeah. I feel more powerful the more I tell it, the more vulnerable I am, and only because of the reception of people who hear it and go, I'm so glad you shared that because I'm going through that too. So I want to ask you, what would you say has been the hardest season in your career? And what did you learn about leadership or leverage through it?
Ooh, that's a good question. But before I answer that, I do want to bring that up because you and I spoke together at an event when you shared your story.
Yes.
And before that, I had known you and I've always loved you and you've always been amazing. But I had a different impression of you that I actually was closer to you after you shared that story. And I think you and I talked about that because I was like, oh
We did.
my gosh, Mike, it's the failures in our lives that make us more human. And I just was drawn to you from that. And again, it's vulnerability. Brene Brown says this all the time. Vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. And I think growing
Yes.
up for so long, I was always told, no, it's not. You can't be weak. You can't be weak. And I had a military father, right? And weakness was like the devil. But I think now people are craving that, especially in the world that we're in. I think especially after COVID, everybody was so,
Yeah.
separated that they're craving that connection.
Right.
And you don't connect over the shiny objects and look at me and the fancy awards and all the things. I don't even care about that stuff anymore. It's like, it's not about income. When it's not about income, it's about impact. What impact did we make today? I asked my kids, what did you do today that made an impact, made a positive impact in the world? What made a negative impact? What was good? What didn't go so well? Having those
Yeah.
conversations and how can you show up for people differently? Hardest season. I think life is all about different seasons. And I wouldn't say one is harder over the other. I think there's just different lessons that need to be learned.
Okay.
When I was transitioning out of my old brokerage into this one and building something we had never done, that was challenging, but it was exciting because we were building something together, right? It always comes to the community and the people I was surrounded by. When COVID, trying to keep our families all dynamic, keeping our business in order, I think that was challenging, but we were better for it. In our business, our industry was thriving, which is, I hate to say that. But I also love the fact that I was stuck with my family, right? So that was a hard time in our life, but oh my gosh, I cherish those days. I would say right now is a really challenging time for me. It's not that I'm in a storm. You always get out of the storms. It's not a storm. It's more of me trying to figure out my identity, right? My identity has been so tied up in my business and the company that we're with that I absolutely adore that has helped me build what I've been able to build. But I'm like, what's next? Who am I? Who do I want to be? How do I have a cascading effect in a different way? Do I want to, I have people wanting me to speak. Do I want to be a speaker? Or do I want to, what do I want to do? So I wouldn't say it's a storm. It's just more of I'm having to sit back and pause a little bit. As our company's grown, am I insignificant? Is there significance? Am I irrelevant? Right? I think there's that irrelevance that I'm challenged with right now. This is me being very transparent with you. I don't like feeling irrelevant. I don't need to be on the spotlight, but I want to know I'm making a difference. I want to know that I'm involved in something. And our company, is massive now. And I love, love, love seeing all the emerging leaders, right? I don't like companies where Glenn talks about this all the time, where it's top down, right? I love the emerging leaders and we have new leaders, but at what point do you lose your value? Right?
Great.
So that I think is I think right now, every stage is going to be a little bit challenging. I wouldn't say I have one that's more difficult. I don't regret any path I've gone down. People say, what would you have changed in your past? I wouldn't. I've had some really hard things in my past, but it's made me who I am, right?
Yeah.
It's made me more determined, more focused, more, willing to help other people. I see people in a different way, but right now I think I'm in a challenging time in my life, not a negative. It's just challenging and I'm going to grow from it. I just don't know what it's going to look like yet. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
it does. It does. Because you learned a lot of lessons along the way. You even talked about how you you were trying to do it all. And then
Oh,
you
yeah.
realized you were missing some of the time from home, and you started realizing what's really important. And I think, as you go through these levels in life, these, as we like to say, new levels, new devils, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's these things that happen that were unforeseeable when you weren't at that level, but now you're at this level and you're like, okay, I didn't see this coming.
Right.
But you start to prepare. It doesn't knock you. It may knock you down, but it's temporarily. You get back up, you readjust, and you keep moving forward. And the cool thing is, as you gain influence along the way, people are watching you. They're watching how you respond to these things.
Yeah.
And as you continue to get up and move forward, your kids are seeing that. Your husband is seeing that. We're seeing that. I'm seeing that. That's one of the things I love about you. Like, I know some of your story, and as you're going, I'm like, man, you started at a company that, like you said, had 400 agents when you were here. And now we're at over, almost 90,000 agents. You went to a brand new market and, ultimately ended up being a top agent in a brand new market based on referrals,
Yeah.
which is a lot going on right there alone.
Yeah.
And you were able to retire a husband in the process, right? But you're also raising great kids, and so all of these things are happening. And I think it's because you decided on what was important to you and decided to not be overwhelmed with the stuff that you don't necessarily need to be bogged down in. And I applaud you for that, because many people, they feel the stress of that, but they don't know how to relieve the stress of that. And they try to live through it. But as you probably know, this statistic, which is one of the reasons why I created the Leverage Lounge podcast, because 90% of small businesses fail within the first 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's primarily because they're trying to be the CEO, the cashier, and the janitor all day, every day. And they're the one showing up when nobody else will. And that works for a little while.
Yeah.
But you can only hustle for so long before you hustle yourself right into the ground or into a heart attack.
It works till it doesn't work. And, this is one of the things I always say. I was saying yes to everything for a long time, right? Especially because I was honored and I was like, yes, I feel like I owe it to this person or the company or whatever. I was flying everywhere. I was doing everything, even as of last year and this year. And I finally had to step back and I take my own advice. Because I tell agents all the time, and I tell people all the time, what are you saying yes to that you should be saying no to, so you can say yes to other things? Yeah. And so this year I've been really focused on saying yes to the right things and not yes to everything, because no is a full sentence. I tell my kids, no, Mom, why? No is a full sentence. They hate that. But I'm saying yes to the right things. And what I've realized too is I pour into a whole bunch of people. I love that. I love community. I love bringing people together. And I realize, who's pouring into me? Right. And as leaders, this, I mean, we get to a certain level where people are looking up to us all the time. It's like, okay, I still need to fill my cup.
I need to look
right.
Up
and where do I find those people? So I've had to go to outside mentors, and not even in the real estate space. I mean, one of my mentors is all about influence, amplifying your influence. And I adore him. I soak up everything he does. I've gone to his private masterminds. But one of the things he said to me where I was really struck, because the social media thing really gets to me on the influencers. I'm like, I don't want to, and we see a lot of people, even in our company or in this industry, that all want to be the influencers. Right. And I don't want to be an influencer. It goes back to the open houses and knocking on doors and cold calling. I don't want to do what it takes to be an influencer. I don't want to do that. I don't care how many followers I have. I don't care how any of that stuff. And he said something to me that was like eye-opening. He said, Elizabeth, you don't have to be an influencer to have influence. And I was like, okay, because I have influence. I don't have ego. And that's where I was getting tripped up. Wow. When he said that to me, he's like, Elizabeth, you don't have to do what they're doing. That's not you. If you were doing that, I would see right through it. He said, you have influence, but you don't have to be an influencer. And it almost gave me permission. And we give permission to people all the time. We're like, you don't have to do that, because we see in them what they might not see. And we see what their stumbling blocks are. So to have people that see my stumbling blocks and can kind of redirect me, that's what I'm stepping into a little bit more now. So that's where I'm putting a lot of my focus and my energy, so that I can be a better leader, so I can be a better mother, a better wife, a better real estate agent. But I had to realize that I have to quit pouring out if I'm not going to pour in. And so now I'm pouring in, and I'm doing more of a little balance, even though there's no such thing as balance.
Yeah. Well, and you can't pour out of an empty cup, right?
Yeah.
So I want to bring you to the hot seat.
Bring me the hot seat.
I'm going to bring you to the lightning round. This is one of the things that I absolutely love, because I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I'm going to ask you to just go ahead and hit me with a quick answer. And then whatever your answer is, we can dive deeper into it if we need to.
Okay.
But I want to see what you come up with. You ready for this?
I am ready.
All right, here we go. The best book that you've read lately.
Die with Zero, Bill Perkins.
Okay. All right. And you've already told us why, so I like that one.
It's all right. Life-changing.
I'm going to check it out. I already wrote it down. It's in my notes. Favorite vacation spot to recharge?
Oh, Park City.
And you have a place
in Park City, that's why I bought a place there, because I love the mountains and I can recharge there. I can unplug there. If it's a true vacation, like that I don't go to all the time, anywhere with my kids. I love going to new places that I've never been.
Okay. All right. What places surprised you most?
Morocco.
Really?
Yeah. We went to 3 different parts of Morocco and they were so completely different. I don't know what I was expecting. I mean, we stayed in the desert with camels and all the things, and we did glamping, I guess. The different cultures just within Morocco, the different environments within Morocco, the different weather. Morocco was definitely surprising to me. It was fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I got to go to Morocco. I love Moroccan food. So
yeah, it was good.
All right. What's one thing that you've delegated that has changed your life?
Housekeeping.
The house manager or housekeeping?
The house manager who does all the housekeeping. Yes, the house manager.
Yes, that was one of our big things. My wife asked me about many years ago, should we get a housekeeper? I was like, no, we're fine. She was like, no, you're fine.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now we have somebody that comes in every other week at least. But
I mean, it's helpful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I bet your wife breathes, she breathes and gets excited when the housekeeper comes.
That actually ended up being one of the main reasons why I did it. I was like, you know what? Like, it doesn't hurt me.
Right.
It makes her happy. Let's just do it. Yeah. And it makes us both happy.
Happy wife, happy life, Mike.
Yes. Happy spouse, happy house.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Yes. All right. What's your go-to app or tool in your daily workflow?
Reach.
Reach. The Reach app?
The Reach app. Do you know what that is?
Okay. I don't know what that is. I have a Reach app, but it's for solar panels.
No, not that. REACH. So you see the little, can you see it? This one right here in the green?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I have different groups. I'll have my past clients. I'll have my current clients. I'll have my organization. I can make different groups and I can send a text message that I can say, for example, I have an event next week in Austin. Oh my gosh. Okay. Tickets are out. Make sure you don't miss this. And by the way, we're going to have happy hour tonight. I can send that one message and it sends it to everybody individually instead of a big group text. And I can personalize each one if I want, and it lets me go one by one. And so I can send, say I have 100 people in my active client list, which I don't, whatever, but I can send 100 text messages in a matter of seconds. And it's all individual, really? So it doesn't look like it's spam. It comes directly from me.
And it'll put their name on each one that goes out?
It can, yeah. You can personalize it. You can do whatever you want. You can add an attachment. You can do a video. You can do whatever. So I use Reach just because I don't want to ever forget anybody. I'm not great with my CRM. I have a CRM, but I don't use it like I should. And it's not in my hand. So say I'm in a neighborhood and I'm driving through a neighborhood. I can say, oh my gosh, I was in the neighborhood. I thought about you. I would love to grab coffee sometime soon. Hope you're well. I can send that, boom, and it'll send it to everybody. And it's still a touch, but I didn't have to say, okay, because used to I'd have a list of a spreadsheet from A to Z. There's Abby. Hi, Abby. I was just thinking about you. How are you? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, now I go to B. It would take me forever. Now I can do one thing. And if I need to get information out, especially with my organization, if I want them all to get on a huddle call or like our Tuesday calls that we do, or whatever I'm doing, I can do it quickly and it goes to each one individually. So you're not mass texting people or spamming people. I love Reach.
That's leverage right there. Yeah. I love that. Thank you for that. I wrote that down too.
Yeah.
And now that you're saying it, I feel like I've heard of it before, but I need to get back to that.
It's easy.
What's the most underrated trait of a great real estate agent?
I would say the connections. The vendors, the people, the resources that we have access to at any given moment. I mean, my clients know that even if they want a dentist or somebody to cut their hair, I'm the mayor. I want to be the mayor of my community because I have all the resources and the people. I don't think people recognize the reach that we all have.
Yeah, I think connection goes into what you were talking about as well, like being that agent that other agents want to do business with. Can you connect with people? Can you be more human more often to more people more often?
Yeah.
And you'll be able to do more business. Well, you are officially off the hot seat. You did great. That was easy. You did really well.
Yeah.
My next question for you is the 5% rule.
Okay.
As we start to come to a close, what's one small habit, decision, or mindset that makes 5% of the difference, but leads to like 95% of your results?
It would just be mindset, I think. It would be gratitude. Every single day is different, and there's going to be trials and struggles and things like that. And not everything's going to go perfectly. But if I look at it as a bigger picture, I'm just blessed. My family is happy and healthy. I've got amazing people I'm surrounded by. We're in an industry that, yes, it's changing, but it's a needed industry. I get to serve people and help them find their happy place, get to help them find their homes. I think if you look at industries I could be a part of or how my path could have been, I've got so much freedom and time freedom, financial freedom, and just joy that I just need to keep that positive mindset even when things are challenging. I'm so grateful to be in the position I'm in.
Here's something that I hear you saying, and you've said it throughout the podcast, but you never actually said it. And I resonate with this. But you believe that life is happening for you, not to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so every place that you've been, everything that you've done, even though they haven't all been successes, you've had your failures, we've had our share of challenges, ups and downs, you've always found a way to get right side up and keep on going. And you believe that you were better because it happened.
Absolutely. I think that sums it up really well because it happens for you. And I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring or today's going to bring or whatever. And I have a lot of faith. And I think that's a big thing with me too. I have a lot of faith and I don't worry about the small stuff. I don't worry about things so much because I'm not in control of it. Like I can only control the things I can control. And so I just work on each day. I always tell people, they're like, you take one day at a time. I was like, I actually take 1 hour at a time. It's like 1 hour at a time. I mean, I live by my calendar now. I'm time blocked. If it's not on my calendar, Mike, it doesn't happen. And if it shows up off my calendar, it can disrupt everything. So I have to be really disciplined in that. But no, I just take 1 hour at a time and just enjoy the ride, enjoy my family, enjoy what I'm able to do.
I love you, my friend.
I love you, my friend.
Just a great light. I think anybody who's hearing this, listening to this, they're like, I love this lady, right? So put it in the comments. You love her. I love her.
I love you. Well, I
Elizabeth,
love how you put your handle, your IG handle. I was like, oh, that was smart. I should have done that.
Hey, you know what? We live and we learn.
We live and learn.
So where can our listeners connect with you? Learn more about your mentorship programs or maybe even refer clients moving into the Austin area?
I would love it.
Our referrals. Actually,
I would probably say Instagram. I'm embracing that a little bit more just because people can connect with me that way. It's easy. It's Elizabeth Riley, ITS Elizabeth Riley. Our team is Lux Property Group, LUXEPG.com. All of my contact information is there, but my Instagram, I do all of mine. I answer the DMs. My VAs do my Lux Property one, but if somebody's trying to reach me, my personal, it's Elizabeth Riley is the way to get me.
Okay. And you find time to respond?
Always.
Always.
If people take time out of their day to send me a message or a note, I'm going to take time to respond.
Except for you scammers out there. Don't be sending her crazy DMs, okay?
If it's scammers, you can go to the Mike Collier over there.
You can come and you might not like what you get.
That's right.
Hey, listen, thank you all for tuning in to the Leverage Lounge. If today's episode brought you any value, do us a favor. Hit the like button. Leave a comment for Elizabeth, for me, and share this episode with somebody else, another business owner. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts so you don't miss any new drops. For more tools and behind-the-scenes interviews, you can go to leveragewithmike.com. So thanks again for tuning in to the Leverage Lounge. I'm Mike Collier, and remember, let's scale smarter.